So, Amber, I actually want to start with you because the amazing Yvette Lee Bowser, she has once coined herself the creator of on-screen enviable relationships between Black women. So, with this being a friendship group that we all love to have, what would you say is your favorite part about being with this group of ladies?
Oh, what I love about this show in real life and on the show is that we're so different from one another, and yet we're still tight, good friends and can support each other, and we're not competitive with one another. And I think that's what like true friend groups look like. Everyone's got their own thing going, their own interests and ambitions, um, and the way that they, one's an extrovert and one's an introvert, and one's interested in games and one's interested in fashion. Everyone's interested in different things, but they still have such a grounded friendship and love for one another. And I love that we show that on the show. And we're like that in real life.
Yeah.
I love that. And Bresha, what I love a lot is your character's outfits. Like everyone is stepping, but I was like making notes, like I need that.
Yeah.
And
She's taking chances this season.
yes, and one thing about her is she has glowed up so much this season. What does she teach you about not only having crazy faith, but also dabbling in whatever and all that life has to offer, if you will?
Taking chances. She's taking chances in her fashion and her hair. She's finally doing what makes her happy, even if it doesn't make sense to anyone else, or it does. She's figuring it out and walking it out boldly. And she's just embarking on such a new place that she's never been before. And I love that you get to see a strong woman like this that has it all figured out, or looks like she has it all figured out, be a little insecure about it, about going into this new career path and having a firm and having those meetings and not knowing how to, do the conversation. Like, how do I ask for this for my company? How do I check someone that I respect? How do I tell the guy that is the man of my dreams that maybe this isn't all for me, or maybe it's not what I need right now? So I think it's just so aspirational. I was inspired by playing her, just to take chances and move and move boldly, but also have grace for yourself as you're making those big decisions.
I love that. And just staying on happiness, Corbin, Sondi is taking her happiness by the reins this season. What would you say has inspired that journey for her in the second season? And how are you learning from that?
Yeah, I think you get to the end of this first season, and a lot of viewers, and myself included, were like, wow, this woman is doing such a beautiful thing by being this caretaker, but she is sacrificing a lot. She's sacrificing a lot by way of her relationship with, Matthew, and also her career. She's putting a lot at risk, and she's taking a back seat in a lot of ways. And she's so intelligent, and she's so capable, and she's so ambitious. It's only natural to go, well, what else could she do? And when you get to season 2, you get to see what else she can do and what the possibilities are. And it's very exciting. It's almost like she's like a racer that's like been held behind the finish line or behind the starting line, and somebody cut the ribbon and said, go, that's what the season looks like for her. And I think it's inspiring to me because when you are in a relationship, or anytime, just as a woman, I think it's very, society tells us that, we're supposed to caretake, and we're supposed to put ourselves second. And, sometimes that's not what's best. It can be a very beautiful thing, but sometimes making that decision for yourself and what you need and putting yourself first is the best thing, not only for you, but for the people around you and for the ones you love. And it takes a lot of courage to do that, and a lot of bravery. And you watch her do that, and it's very exciting.
Yes, definitely. Like right now, I'm halfway through episode 7, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, Santi is me. Like, I understand. I understand her. And so before I let y'all go, Amber, I will start with you. Just give me a word or a phrase that summarizes Run the World season 2.
I feel like you guys said good words a second ago. Oh, what was the word? Someone else go.
Bold and aspirational.
That was good.
Ooh.
Yeah, bold and aspirational, female forward. And, we're just doing it for ourselves
Mm.
and doing it with each other. Like, and we're doing it well, okay?
Yeah, we're listening to ourselves and putting ourselves first.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that all rings true on screen. I grew up watching Living Single, and I was too young to like really know. But now, like, I'm a millennial, I'm 30. I'm like, no, I know what they're going through. So just thank you for your amazing artistry, and congratulations on season 2.
Thank you so much.
And thank you, Shadow and Act, for always shouting us out and supporting
I know.
us.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Hi, Erika.
Shanique. How are you? One of my favorite places, Shadow and Act. I follow y'all. Y'all give me all the good news and everything. It's great to see you.
Yes, we love you as well. And so I'm going to hop right in because I was watching a previous interview that you did where you mentioned that writer Lee Davenport said that only you could play the role of Barb. Now that we're in this second season of Run the World, how would you say that this rings true?
Well, it's a great compliment for anyone to say and think that you can play a very specific role, and you want to make sure that you do well and give them what they what they hoped for. I'm very gratified that at this point in my life, people know that I can act. They certainly know I can act, but they also know that I'll bring a certain improvisational style to it, and carefree and casualness to it, but also a seriousness. That's what I think they're looking for. And so if people want to give me my flowers in that way and say, only one person can play it, I'll say thank you. and run like a thief.
I love that. And one of the things I love about Barb is like she's like me when it comes to like when I'm talking about Gen Z, the way she talks about millennials. And so she's always taking jabs at them about, having that passion for chasing their dreams, but at the same time she admires that drive. As someone who has and continues to pave the way for today's actors, what would you say you love the most about the current state of television as we know it?
Ooh. Girl, I love that question. The sky's the limit. The sky's the limit, and the limit is the sky. We're in a space now with the internet and all the tools we have around us, including our phones, that if you want to do something, you really can do it. You don't have to wait for someone to come find you. When I was younger, you had to be discovered, or you had to do theater to get your start. And often it didn't mean that you could translate it to anywhere else. But now you can literally film a movie, film a monologue, put up whatever you want, prose, poetry, anything. Teach yourself with the tools that you have, how to be it, and even get an audience for it. Now we can have a conversation about real access and equity. That's still an issue. And certainly on the pay salary, it's an issue. But you really do have more ways to push out your stories and to be you. And I think that's never been in history in this way.
Absolutely. And lastly here, I just want to know, what is your favorite thing about this core group of women in Run the World? What, like, as far as representation in their storylines, what has been your most favorite thing to see?
I love their energy. I love that they're intelligent. I love that they make mistakes. I love that they're ambitious. I love that they're sometimes anxious about the world. And I love that they're taking the chance. They're gorgeous. Look at the clothes that Pat Fields and Tracy, our costume designer, and have put on them, and the Harlem as the background to all of this, which is full of energy. I love all of that, but I also love that it's a part of me now. I started my career in New York partially, actually Philadelphia and then New York, and here I am still running the world in New York, but on a different show with different leads who are making a new path, but they're also following the breadcrumbs that many people left along the way, and that is really exciting.
Well, I love that. As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you, my fellow Scorpio sister.
That's what's up, Scorpio. Yes. I love you. Yes.
Are there any of Ola's qualities that mirror those of your own? And if so, what are they?
Too many qualities. Yeah, Ola is, I mean, obviously he's a first generation Nigerian, so am I. He's a doctor. My dad is a doctor. I come from a lot of medical professionals, but also like, he's just a guy who's honestly very loving, very committed, very supportive to his partner. And, I think that the way that he handles the conflict at the end when he finds out that his fiance was cheating on him was in a very like measured but like angry kind of like paternal vibe and scolding. And weirdly, I definitely do a little bit of that when I'm in conflict scenarios. But overall, he's like a fun-loving guy and he cares about people, and I definitely resonate with that.
Absolutely. And for you, Jay, I wanted to know in what ways, your character really is chasing a dream. So, how do you hope he encourages those who maybe aspiring to be in the music field or have partners dealing with people who are aspiring to be in the music field? What lessons do you think they teach them or he teaches them?
Try. I wouldn't be here having this conversation with you right now had I not made the decision to simply try. Life's too short. Life is too short not to do the thing that's in your heart. So if it's really in your heart, go for it. I hope if people watch Jason, they don't go about it exactly the same way that he did. But I hope that they reach the same conclusion that, sometimes you just gotta take a leap of faith.
Yeah, and a question I have for the both of you is because, I grew up watching iconic shows like Living Single, with just a beautiful dynamic of women who were bosses in their own right. What is your favorite thing about the women of Run the World? And we can start with you, Tosin.
I mean, it's all about sisterhood. Like, they are very ambitious. They're chasing different career goals. They're chasing different men. They're dealing with the fact that they've gotten a little bit older. They're not quite the 20s that they used to be. But above it all, what they have is each other. And that community is kind of the center of what this show is. It's this Black sisterhood. And I think we could all learn from that. And I think they've done a good job in this season of mirroring it a little with the men. So we have a brotherhood that's been growing. But in general, I think, people need to increase the value of their community and make sure that they're pillars that they can rely on and that they are feeding into their community as well. I just think that that's a lesson for all of us. And we learn that through these women.
Not only lean on a pillar, but also be a pillar.
Pillar too.
And we definitely see that in this show.
Yeah.
Definitely with the women.
And we see when the pillars aren't so strong and weaken and start to crumble, but they rebuild.
Absolutely. And for you, Jay, did you have anything to add about the lovely women of Run the World and what they reflect for, because I was watching Living Single with my parents. I obviously could not relate to the characters, but now watching this as a millennial, I'm like, oh, that's definitely me. So how do you hope that this is representation for those watching?
I mean, I think you just said it. You perfectly captured what I love about this show, and we can watch it and see ourselves. It's not like the same story that we're so used to seeing over and over. There's a diversity of stories that we can relate to, and each of the women on this show just exemplify. Well, I was gonna say handling things with grace. I think overall, it's just so relatable. And it's so real, and it's okay to stumble.
Yeah, and there's almost there's a way that Black women meet conflict and meet obstacles that is unique and honestly filled with humor, and that's that's a skill, a strength, and a coping mechanism all at once. And I think that they really, through these women and through this show, we see a lot of that in effect, which is why it's so fun to watch, because it's so funny. So it's beautiful.
Absolutely. I definitely agree. And I love the show. So thank y'all for your time today.